everybody? Happy Friday. Welcome to another edition of Fantasy Hockey Picks and Bets. Myself, Chris Meaney. One game on the ice tonight, the Blue Jackets and the Hawks, but that's okay. Cam Stewart and I will have some fun anyways. We'll break down this game. We'll break down a couple games for tomorrow, maybe a couple NHL betting tips from the guy, Cam Stewart. Cam, what's going on, man? Happy Friday.
Happy Friday, Meaney. I don't know. If I keep on betting the Islanders, I'm going to ask producer Matt Best for some tips because I'm a moron. I was sitting there doing the show yesterday. It's the best when me and Morency are working. I go, the 828 depression's kicking in. Like we're winning. Like every game starts, boom, Rangers are up. Islanders are up 3-0. I'm like, oh my God. And then I'm looking, did Washington just score 5 goals in the second period? I had smoke coming out my ears, Meaney. But other than that, we hit the Leafs over, laid a couple things, and it was good. It was a good day on the plus, but just that those huge parlays we've been so close to clipping. And I got to tell you something, buddy. We talked about this before, so we're not getting on the bandwagon. What the Montreal Canadiens are doing right now is spectacular. And they're doing this in the North Division where all teams hate each other and get everybody's best effort because of the history. And they're playing a Calgary team that loses 2 games to Toronto. First game, when you're on the road trip, that's a great angle, betting the first game for the road team. And Montreal in their home opener, they could have took it easy, but no, they step on them and win again. Meaning, you must be excited. This team's the real deal.
I am excited, Matt. I didn't even pay Cam to say that off the top of the show. It's all him. It's all him. Like, listen, I know a lot of people the jokes is like, Habs this, Habs that. Maddie and I had a funny joke. We were back and forth. I think the last time we had the show, we were talking about holes in the division, and I didn't even bring up Montreal for a hole. And I said, after the hole that they would have is that they don't have a superstar, but I don't know if that's a bad thing because I'm just looking up and down the lineup and other teams. Suzuki's the only forward on that team averaging 17 minutes. You go look at the Leafs. I mean, Matthews is a star. I'm not comparing him. He should play 22, 23 minutes a night. But most teams have a player that's playing 22, 23 minutes a night. And there is something to be said about a team having that much depth and rolling through 4 lines and the schedule up north, all the travel, the back-to-backs, maybe in the long run, especially in tight games when you start to see in the third period, it is a tight game and they continue to just roll 4 lines. It is working right now, but you're right. I told the FTN subs to be hesitant with the Habs. It was minus 120 at home against Calgary. Usually after a 2-week long road trip to start the season, you come out flat at home. And they did. They actually did come out flat last night. Price had a couple saves, they had a couple power play goals, and it was game over. But yeah, they look pretty good. We'll revisit maybe some odds for divisions a little bit later on the show because there's not a lot of goals. Last night, I'll be honest, was rough for me in the shot props. I had Randon 2.5. He had 2. I got the McKinnon 3.5. I think anytime you see McKinnon, you jump all over it. He loves to shoot the puck. But Braden Point, Stamkos, Carlson, all over 2.5, and they all had 2. But saved my night at the end with the parlay in Vancouver. The over in Toronto, we had Colorado and Dallas. I know Maddie had 3 or 4 successful parlays last night. Islanders are just off my list, Cam. I can't do it.
Yeah. That's what I was doing a show with Brian Blessing last night, and that's what he says. He goes, Cam, it's one of those things. It's like they blow a 3-0 lead. They've been screwing you out of like big time money in parlays. He goes, stay away from them. He goes, if you want a good gambling angle from a guy that's been in the business for like 40 years gambling is start with the totals or start with something else and then revisit these guys coming back. But I will say this, Meanie, it's been wild. And one angle that rings true, I think, though, is like, let's use Colorado for an example. Say you have an over game against SJ Sharkey, like a 7-3 game, and then I come back to the over. The totals have been like, you want to take the team that lost or blown out, but I think totals in the second game, look what happened with Minnesota and the Kings. Yeah. That game was a nut under. It was 2-1 in the first meeting. The second meeting flies way over the number, and the books peg it at 5.5, not 6. Cha-ching, cha-ching. I actually did better. I'm more of a sides man, Meanie, because I'm old school, but I'm thinking totals, and we can even talk about it. Playing some like shot props are going to be more. I got to diversify my portfolio. I'm getting older. Got to get a little bit smarter too, and just get a little piece of everything. Because in the NBA, we're nailing these props with like Wayne Ellington and Jeremy Grant, and the books really don't change the number that much.
No, they don't. And Man, the prop game has really changed my life, to be honest with you. I've a lot of it over in the NFL this season, and the NHL, I'm starting the same way, and basketball. Yeah, sometimes there's just these random blowouts in the NBA and guys sip, so I don't really mess around with average players. But like a Jeremy Grant is a perfect example of a guy who just went to a team to bet on himself, right? He was on a good team last year, went to a team in the Pistons. Okay, there's all kinds of opportunity for him to play and be the guy, and he is the guy. He's jacking up a lot of shots. His prop, I mean, if you've been hitting that daily, you've been very successful because his prop goes over all the time. Yeah, man, the totals for me have been the way to go. I don't know what it is. Maybe the NFL term, the second half adjustments. Maybe it is. Like you watch the film, you're not traveling, you go back, you see the game, and you pick a couple holes, maybe tighten up defensively like the Sharks did last night. The Avs hit 5 posts, but that still went under the number. There's certain teams that I've just been attacking under. Minnesota's one, didn't get it yesterday, but Anaheim, Arizona.
Yes.
Give me give me the under on those teams that don't have a lot of offense. Kind of feel the same way about tonight. I don't know if you have a vibe with Chicago and Columbus, but I'm looking at two teams here that don't have a lot of firepower offensively. Really like the Blue Jackets goaltending, whether it's Elvis or Korpisalo in net tonight. And just something I looked at, and I'm going to continue to follow trends. We're starting to get a bit of a feel. We're going to take a look for next week on back-to-backs. Like how many sweeps have we seen? Because I don't think there's been a whole lot. But the Central Division, for whatever reason, 19-3-2 at home this year, Cam.
Jeez,
I wish
I would have known that before the start, Meaney. We could be living on a golf course pretty soon, buddy. We don't have to worry. That's insane. And I will say the thing that I've noticed too is it's really weird. And I like to take sometimes those bounce back teams. Like, I don't know what's going on in Ottawa, Meaney, but here's the deal. This coach has called these guys out. They're staying at, Hyatt Regencies and beautiful hotels. Well, it's going to be a Scottish Inn with bed bugs and a Motel 6. We'll keep the light on for you because half of these guys are like, it's basically, what do we got? A couple guys like Shabbat, couple young stars, and a bunch of American Hockey League players. Guys, when your coach calls you out, when you're losing like 7-1 game, the one thing about hockey players in comparison to any other sport is the personal pride. You play injured, broken leg. I'll give it a shot, coach. But Ottawa, I'm looking at these guys going, they're not even competitive, Meaney. And they played some good games against Toronto earlier, but what a train wreck. We haven't seen this before. It's usually a league of parity, but like betting Vancouver was printing money.
Oh, 3 straight days, 3 straight games.
And they didn't adjust the line. That's why I get all freaked out. I've been gambling so long when I see a bait line, like Vancouver should have been minus 240. It's like $1.60. I'm going, what am I missing here? Like, am I going to bet this game? And is this the trap of the year? I got to get over that stuff. It's not a trap, Cam. It's just a bad line. And the books expect these guys to bounce back. They don't have the skill to bounce back.
Exactly. I couldn't believe the line either. I was second guessing myself. Should I not go Vancouver? Because I watched the first 2 games.
Exactly.
And I watched the second game, and Ottawa had a really strong first period. They put 24 pucks on net. The problem is, Cam, they just don't have a lot of skill, right? We're talking about Shabbat. We're talking about a bunch of other young rookies. Like Brady Tkachuk is nice, but then he's got Josh Norris and Drake Batherson on his line. Those guys have combined maybe 40 games in the NHL. They just don't have a lot of experience. Like a guy like Galchenyuk can't even crack the Ottawa Senators lineup. There's lots of issues there. So I didn't understand that either, but you're right. Printing money, 3 straight games with Vancouver. I took a look at Ottawa's 5-on-5 lines from 2 games ago. They had 11 different combinations, talking about putting your players in a blender. And then last night they had 8 different combinations. That's just at 5-on-5, let alone, chucking a guy here on the top power play, this guy getting some ice time. So yeah, the Sens, they're improved. They compete hard, but they're an absolute train wreck. They're a team that I think we should just continue to bet against.
And I got excited but talking about printing free money. Didn't get it. My take on the Columbus Chicago game, Meaney, is Chicago's a little bit different. They've had they've had some efforts. They've been snake bitten. They could have taken those games against Nashville.
Absolutely.
Every time a game. If you bet these guys in regulation, you're actually fine. You're making money. They haven't been able to get that extra point. And Columbus, on the other hand, let's call it out for what it is. They're a little bit lucky too. Like Florida's not that good of a team, and they've had problems with them. It's going to be nice to see Laine and the rest of these guys gel, but I got to be honest with you, Meaney, I'm kind of looking at Chicago, desperate team against Columbus. Like, I don't think betting on Columbus is free money in that spot. You're right. It's not a great game, and I wish we had more to choose from. But right now, I'm kind of leaning Blackhawks, and I do agree, maybe like a 3-2 type of game, just staying under the number.
Yeah, I like the under probably is my favorite play. It's 5.5. We have Chicago plus 110 at home. Columbus minus 127. Blue Jackets 2-6 against the spread. And to your point, the Hawks 5-3 against the spread. So I don't know if you want to take them plus 1.5. I think that's interesting. It is a little bit juiced up, but yeah, I think it's going to be a tight game. I see a 3-2 final. I like the direction the Blue Jackets are going, though. I really do. Like I said, I like both of their goalies. I think they have arguably the best 1-2 punch in the blue line in Werenski and Jones. The addition of Line A is going to give them what they need, some goals, right? Some goals, especially on the power play. I think if you're playing showdown tonight, the line that I want to attack, I don't know how you don't play Patrick Kane. I mean, he's the best guy on the ice. I think you have to get involved with Kane. There's a way to certainly fit him in. He probably wouldn't be my captain, but I'd get him in there. A couple games ago against Nashville, he had 0 shots. And went back him and looked at last year how many times he had 0 shots in a game. It was only 2. He bounced back and had 4 in his previous game. I'd like him to at least put the puck on net a couple times tonight. You can pair him up with maybe Pius Suter. But the line that I would attack in Columbus is the Bjorkstrand, Alexander Texier. As we talked about this guy 3 times this week.
Nice shootout winner, Meaney.
How about that shootout goal? Is this a guy with confidence or what?
Yeah, that guy's good, man. He's good.
He's real good. He's been a nice bright spot this season, widely available in every single season-long format out there. And then Nick Foligno last night was on that line. So it was a nice, solid trio to get involved with. You want to go deeper. The line that actually showed up last night that was really good was the Boone Jenner line. Get Boone Jenner mixed in there with Bowdy, Max Domi. There's lots of different avenues you can go. But on a small slate like this, Cam, I'm just attacking shooters. Give me the guys that are going to put the puck on the net. Give me some shots. And that is Kane, Bjorkstrand, and Texier. So those are the 3 I would try to focus on. Maybe get Seth Jones in there as well. Shot props, there's not a whole lot here, man. We got Zach Werenski, 2.5. I don't really like to take defensemen. If Seth Jones showed up here at 2.5, I would take that. Looking at DraftKings Sportsbook right now, Dylan Strome, 1.5 minus 134. Would you do it? Because this would go against my rule. This is a pass first guy. I did it in the game on Wednesday against Nashville. He had the 2 shots, Cam, but it took him overtime to get there.
See, that's the thing, Meaney. It's funny because I've been playing more props. It's stressful. Like you're sitting there, like, especially like you get 8 points in the NBA. It's like, hey, my guy needs 11. He doesn't score again till I'm like, the 4th quarter's here, man. Where have you been? Like I'm sitting there going, what's going on? And that's what happens. Sometimes you got to wait. But you know what? 1.5 over, that's not a lot to ask. And the juice isn't that bad. It's not like it's $1.65 or 70. I can live with I can live with 32 cents. That's not a problem with me. So you know what, Meaney? If you endorse it, I'm listening. I like the Strome man. I used to bet with his buddy at the OTB playing horses. He's like, yeah, I know the Strome family all the time. We used to talk hockey. Great guy. But I will say this, 2 shots. I think we can get there. You're right, though. He is a pass first guy, but that's not a big ask. And I think we can get there, and that juice is fine with me.
Yeah, it's not like Bjorkstrand's 2.5 at minus 177. Like that's not a bet I'm totally interested in. I don't have a lot of interest there if you want to parlay, but there's only 1 game, right? So, I mean, he's hit the over in back-to-back games. He's got 2 shots. He gets some power play time. I wish he would play with Kane. He's not with Kane, but they mix their lines up in Chicago too. It wouldn't surprise me if all of a sudden he's playing with Kane. So that's really the only one that I like, minus 1.5 or 1.5 rather, minus 134. Kane minus 118, 3.5 is pushing it, but that would be my second one. First time goal scorer, I'm going to have to go with Bjorkstrand, 11-1. You want a long shot
Where's
here?
Where's my boy DeBrincat for first? Is he, what's he at?
He would not be on. I think he's still dealing with COVID protocol.
He's not playing? Holy jeez. That's a problem.
All the reason to maybe like the under, right? A little bit more.
Yeah. No, you're right, Brett Meaney. Like the thing is, who in Chicago other than Kane
Nobody
is going to, that's the thing. I don't know what's going on. And I know it's, we're more talking about betting. This Jonathan Taves thing, I was talking about it with Blessing. Like it's starting to get scary. Like it might not be just an injury. Like I think there might be something wrong. And I really was fortunate to meet him when they won the Stanley Cup. And he's a fantastic person, not alone just a great hockey player, like really good. I'm worried, Meaney, like this, I'm thinking it's closer to like, Is he ever going to come back again? Because I think it's a lot more serious than people think. I know they've been very tight-lipped about it, but man, and without Kirby Dach and him, the Blackhawk is tough. That's a lot of leadership and skill right there in a couple players. Like, they've been playing with half a deck. It's not really right.
No, it's not. And you're right. It has been hush. Obviously wish him all the best. Yeah, I've heard nothing but great things about Jonathan Toews, and you can see it on the ice what he brings every single night. So there's something going on there, and I am worried too. Hopefully we see him again, but Cam, I don't know if we will see him again. And Chicago's just super thin down the middle. We finally got Soderberg back in the lineup, but when he's playing as your second line center, you got an undrafted rookie in Suter playing as your number one center with your best player in Patrick Kane. There's going to be holes in your game, but you're right. They are competing, and that's why I like the under. A long shot here. Why don't we just continue? It's the Texier show here. I mean,
I like that. Yes. Yes, Meaney. Yes. And I'm always getting Foligno in my mind. He's a type of guy. That name's got, you're right. Like for Columbus. So what are these guys? What are the odds? Can you put, if they're that juicy, you could probably put 2 or 3 bets in. You don't have to go bananas and play a full unit, but those are good odds if you're getting like double digits. Why not?
Yeah, you could put maybe 0.25 or something like that. You don't have to put a full unit. I mean, up at the top, I would take a shot on Bjorkstrand. I don't mind putting a unit on that. But if you want 0.25, maybe on Texier, 17-1, Foligno, 19-1, playing with them, I'm telling you, that's the best line. Foligno, Texier, and Bjorkstrand. You want to go a little bit deeper than that. I think you're taking big time shots. Boone Jenner, 22-1. Seth Jones, 28-1. Like, those are ones I'd maybe put 0.25 unit or 0.10 or something silly like that. But you hit them, and then your night is successful on what is a 1-game slate. Before we look at tomorrow, I'll throw out division odds here for you, and we'll just kind of walk through it here. We're about 2.5 weeks into the season. So
one quick thing too, Meaney. I'm sorry to interrupt because I think this is important because you were talking to me about trends and I don't want to forget. Sometimes it's early in the morning and I haven't had my 9 coffees yet. But I will say this: take a look at the COVID situations and the teams not playing. Florida, they didn't play, they won. Okay. Look at last night. It's the opposite of what people think. Carolina Hurricanes are playing a taxi squad against Tampa Bay. Well, there's no chance. Like, the line went, it steamed to like $1.55, $1.60. Carolina wins 1-0. They play a perfect defensive game. Meaning the Dallas Stars, Florida, every team that has been in a wait approach without like the games has been fresher and won. It's the opposite of what the narrative is trying to tell you. Oh yeah, these guys are going to be rusty. They're not rusty. They're winning. That's the angle, buddy.
Good call. Yeah.
So when Vegas comes back, people are like, oh, what's Vegas doing here with this COVID? They'll probably like murder the team they played the first game back.
Yeah, probably. That's a great call by you. I stayed away from that game. I was leaning under, and I'm like, maybe I'll just kind of stay away. I wish I bet the under, but we're talking about deep teams. Carolina is one of them. Like, if you're looking across the league and you want to get the top 5 teams that are the deepest in the NHL, in my opinion, Carolina would be there. Another team that doesn't have a ton of where is their superstar? Like, Sebastian Aho is kind of there. Svechnikov is on his way, but not really a total superstar yet. I mean, Sebastian Aho, I probably would put him in there as a top 12.
Tier B superstar. Not real at the top, but he's in the second tier.
Yeah, not yet. He's on his way, but there's another deep team that can afford 1 or 2 guys, right? That come into the lineup. Yeah, they looked great. You're right. They played a perfect game last night, and then they get the W. So let's start with that division. The Central. Tampa still, heavy favorites here, Cam, at plus 100. Carolina plus 375 is the team that I bet at the start. Dallas 400, Nashville 900. The Blue Jackets, wow, 11-1. Panthers 10-1. Chicago and Detroit, forget about it. Would you?
Hey, Meaney, I got a great bet for you. Let's put some money on Detroit Red Wing futures. You might as well just give me the money and I'll burn it or put it down my toilet. Yeah, exactly.
Can't do it. Columbus, would you go there with Columbus
yes.
or not yet? Yeah, yes. Why not? Good odds here.
Meaning, you know the way we operate. You want to take one that you really love, and both of us are on Carolina early. I don't even mind, again, because it's pretty close to the original. I think Carolina will win that division. Tampa Bay, there's a little bit of a Stanley Cup hangover. They're a very good team, but you talked about it. I think Carolina is they're a real good team. I'd look for futures on them. And this is the thing. Say Patrick Laine comes to Columbus and everything clicks, and the thing that they need is scoring. You said it. I love their back end. They got great goaltending. Korpisalo, Elvis is good. Like, that's the thing. You talked about it. These guys are fantastic. Columbus can play that game. they can also beat you in a suffocating game, like a 2-1 style game. Torts will have these guys ready to go. And you know what they are? They're Tampa Bay's kryptonite. Remember last week, I bet on Columbus. They were like plus 40. I'm like, I remember I was talking to my parents. I'm like, God, I wish like sports betting was like this all the time. Like Columbus matches up against these guys. And people are like, there's no way the Jackets beat the Lightning. They give this team fits. So why not? Laine adding a goal scorer at 11. I still think Carolina's the play, Meaney. But you know me, you're a smart guy. Little sprinkle. Blue Jackets. Maybe we can buy ourselves a new jacket after if they come through. A nice leather one, stylish. But that's a great price for a good team.
It is, yeah. It's all they really needed was just a little bit of punch, right? A little bit of just, scoring punch on the power play, I think, especially. And there's a lot of talk: is Torts and Laine going to work out? It'll
work out.
It's going to be fine. He's a good coach. Like he may have a couple screws loose. Yeah, I'm not going to debate that. But he's a good coach. You're absolutely dead on. They have played Tampa Bay super tight for a couple years now. I mean, they took them out a couple years ago. They played them good in the playoffs last season in the bubble, even though they lost. And they did well against the Leafs, and they're off to a good start here. They just don't allow a lot, man. Like I said, I like their defense, and this is a nice punch. Other guys are starting to get a little bit familiar. We're talking Texier. He's been in the league for a handful of days. They got hardworking guys like Jenner and Foligno. Those guys are good. Those are Torts guys, right? They're just going balls to the wall every single time that they're on the ice. And Domi probably played his best game as a Blue Jacket last night. Not just because he scored a goal. He was all over the ice too. I just found, in that game against Tampa Bay, after that trade, they just seemed rejuvenated a little bit. Like how much attention was Pierre-Luc Dubois getting on that team? Every day it was Pierre-Luc Dubois. Yeah. Dubois, you're answering questions about Dubois. He's not playing. He's benched. It's got to be annoying for the players. I
will say this about Torts though. Stop talking about Dubois. He's a Jet now.
Yeah, he's need to stop.
Like enough. I get his routine. He likes to be honest and Mr. this and that. Oh, I'm going to tell you how I feel. But there becomes a point saying, it's a clean slate now. This is a story. Totally. This is the Jets' problem. We have Laine coming in here. Let's worry about our team. Even Dubois' agent's like, can you please tell Mr. Tortorella to stop talking about my client? You know what I mean? He's had enough. It's like, dude, he's not there anymore. End it. Let's just focus on winning hockey games, Jackets. Let's go.
I know. Total agenda for Tortorella.
I know.
Since the offseason.
Yes, we do have an issue. I do have an issue with Dubois. It's like, okay, you guys don't get along. He's not there anymore. Perfect. Let's move on.
And you see on the other side, Paul Maurice was just hush-hush. There's a couple things that are starting to come up now with Laine and Wheeler and Scheifele in the dressing room. But, I mean, you don't see Paul Maurice yapping about Laine. Okay, but you're right. Tortorella shut up, Tortorella. It's time. West Division, Colorado plus 150, Vegas plus 150, St. Louis 425, the Wild 1,000, Coyotes 3,000, Ducks same thing. Ducks 3,200, Kings 35, and Sharks 35. Not a lot of there. I mean, there's a lot of value there, but there's not. I know if you had one of those teams in the playoffs, Arizona, Anaheim, San Jose, LA, which one would it be?
What a question.
I know. They're all very average.
Arizona.
Okay.
What do you think?
I think so. Yeah. Good goaltending. Sound.
I almost want to say, as crazy as it sounds, I would rather have Anaheim at 32-1, even though it's not possible. And the Wings at that price. What was their price again? What was it? It was awful. But it wasn't
8,000. Plus
8, they're 80-1. Yeah, the thing about Anaheim is John Gibson again. You watch these games, at least they're tight. They play Arizona. Arizona squeaks out a 3-2 win in that game, and you talk about it unders all the time. That's a team where a goaltender he steals games. Gibson's the hot. We've talked about this last week. He's still the hottest. He is a great goaltender. But out of those teams, I think Arizona's got to take the next step. I trust their goaltending too. I think it's fine. But that's a very tough question, Meaney. That could go either way.
It could. If we get halfway through the season and Trevor Zegras and Jamie Drysdale's all of a sudden on this Ducks team, a little bit of youth, right? Then I'd like them a little bit more. I'm surprised that Zegras is not up and playing. I think it's only a matter of time. Maybe I change my tune. Maybe we'll see those kids in the lineup soon and the Ducks go because Gibson is absolutely fire. I mean, there's no value here with Colorado and Vegas, but I like Vegas to win the division. I just think they're a little bit more experienced. They seem more business to me. With Colorado, they're young, they're up and coming, they're great, they're fun to watch. They have a lot of offense. They really are fun to watch. but sometimes they get into these games where maybe some of the young players, a couple mistakes here and there, all of a sudden the puck's in the back of the net, where Vegas is just like, they just seem to be on a mission every time.
Vegas is unreal. You know what it is? They basically, Meaney, they're that good when they're like, and I watch every single game, that Arizona series. Arizona was dominating. Vegas was basically drunk. Like they showed up. It's like, we're not even into this tonight. And then all of a sudden they're going, okay, let's just take care of business. Like, I get the Coyotes are coming out to play, but we're just going to turn on the switch and bury these guys. And we're not just going to win. We'll win for all our puck line players too. Sorry about the start of the game. We deliver cashier tickets. That's what it felt like. It's 2-0 Arizona. Now. Bing, 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 bing. Vegas can turn it on. They have defensemen that can score.
Yeah.
They roll out lines. They kill you. Stone's a monster. All their guys are good. And their goaltending, the best is the situation that they have, Meaney, and it's different. And you know this. Leonard's the long-term option, but Marc-Andre Fleury, he's a crowd favorite, and he plays so damn good that he has everybody on his side too. They have to keep on rolling him out. It's like, dude, you're not getting rid of me. I'm going to play better than Leonard, and we're going to see how this thing goes, because it's always a goaltending competition, and that's great. You're right. The thing about Colorado is they rely on it too much. Like, they can play loose, and even though they have good, like Cale Makar and all these stars that they have on their team, I prefer Vegas's goaltending, and I think that's right now. I think Vegas would be an option, and they're better at the price at the odds board too. Why not, buddy?
Yeah, I mean, you always talk about Vegas. It is interesting, Leonard and Fleury. I was shocked that Leonard was like, they made the addition at the deadline to get him, and that he was the goalie for them moving forward in the playoffs in the bubble. I was a little shocked about that. Yeah. I thought Fleury I didn't think he did anything to lose his job. I thought he was great the year that they went to the finals. He was phenomenal, actually, the year that they went to the finals.
Right.
And he's been the better goalie so far this year.
Correct.
They continue to go back and forth, and I'm sure they'll do it all year. And, maybe they'll decide with Fleury if he has the better season. Maybe he is the game one starter for Vegas. But there's not a lot of holes in either of those two teams. Vegas is the team for me, though, in that division. The East, we got the Bruins 2-1, Washington 4-1. Washington's really moved up. They were 6-1 to start. Pittsburgh plus 425, Flyers 475, Islanders 650, Sabres 15-1, Devils 22-1, the Rangers 17-1. I think this is the most competitive division in the NHL. Man, the Washington Capitals have really surprised me over this past week. Not that they couldn't win games without I call them the big four, the big two, I guess, and Ovechkin and Kuznetsov.
The big two and Orlov and
Orlov
and Samsonov luggage. Yeah. But
Justin Schultz has been great without Orlov. What do you make of this division?
Here's the thing, Meaney. Yeah, when you heard the Islanders, my blood pressure just spiked. Like, I'm already red, I'll turn purple. Like, that team, I just want to strangle like that team right now. But I'll say this, Washington on their report card, they get an A+. I can't believe what's happening right now. And you said it, like, you're not just winning games, you're coming back 3 goals against a Barry Trotz team and blowing these guys out. They've been fantastic. And I'll tell you one thing, Samsonov, he's going to be the backup goalie now. Do you not think moving forward when this is happening? Yeah. Because and they've been surprising. I am absolutely shocked that the grit that they're showing, and that just tells you about this hockey team. All Ovechkin and their stars are guys like, don't worry, we got this, no problem. So I think Washington is a team that is very scary. As for Pittsburgh, Meaney, I'm done. Like, the Pittsburgh Penguins, to me, I thought they could have been in a good situation against Boston. They lose that game 4-1. I told you that. Aging team. I don't trust DeSmith. I don't trust Yari, anybody back end. Pittsburgh is just an aging team now without Rutherford there too. So for me, in that, I think they're a team that you fade actually moving forward. I don't think they're that good. And I feel bad for Crosby because Malkin takes nights off too. And it's just like, he can't do it all himself, man. It's not.
I wonder they're win now mode, obviously. Mm-hmm. New GM comes in. Who knows? Do they decide let's deal Malkin? Like, what's the asking price for Evgeny Malkin? I don't know. Like, you're not dealing Crosby, but you have to have a conversation with Crosby, Malkin, I don't know, Letang, definitely. Mm-hmm. You have to have a conversation with these three players and be like, this is the direction we're going. We're rebuilding, or we're going all in one more year. But some of the moves that they've made, like Zucker, like Jason Zucker is a guy that, like, is he playing? I wonder sometimes if he's on the ice and what he's doing. He went 4 or 5 games in a row without a shot. I saw his shot prop at 1.5. I was like, no, thanks. Like, yep. I'll at least take Strome, who's showing me some effort. Whereas a guy like Zucker or Zucker, I'm not seeing the effort from that second line, and they've loaded up their top line right now in Gensel and Crosby and Russ. So there's a lot of holes with the Penguins, man. I agree totally. I don't like their blue line. I don't like their goaltending. I usually attack the overs there. Yep. The Bruins, for a team that only has, just taking a look here, 9 goals at 5-on-5, but they're about to get David Pastrnak back potentially tomorrow or at least next week. So they've kind of weathered the storm despite a rocky start. But the Capitals are very impressive. There's still some value here, Cam, at plus 400. And those guys in Ovi, especially Ovi, this guy's just going to be extremely motivated. He's ticked off with the 4-game suspension. I think there's value there. Washington at plus 400. Philadelphia plus 475 is okay too. But I like Washington. North.
Yeah. I was just gonna say though, I look at Boston and the thing is, Meaney, like you're from the East Coast, you met a lot of these guys, like they're warriors. I never count out this team. And the thing is, like, I look at them, they're missing guys and they're still delivering. You could say the same thing for Boston, like Washington with the COVID. Without the pasta man, these guys are still delivering, and they're getting great. Smith, who came over, he's getting chemistry with Coyle and all these others. We talked about this. Like it's funny, they put a lot of Bruins games on. Like, and that, like when the main games aren't on, like the Canadians and Leafs, it's like the Bruins a feature game. They got a lot of fans, and I watch that team. It's like, and Rask and Halak, that's one of the best 1-2 punches in the league too. So I would never count out the Boston Bruins. Everyone wants to like ride these guys off. They're just like that old wrestler, like the Undertaker. He's not dead, people. He's coming back. Like, you know what I mean? It's just Boston, unlike Pittsburgh, who's fading into obscurity, Boston's still there.
You're spot on. Yeah, I love that gif. We're just like, He's dead.
Right out of the coffin.
He's back.
It's a
right out
logo.
of the coffin. Because they did nothing to replace. I mean, say what you want about Zdeno Chara. He's old, but he's getting it done in Washington, right?
I know.
Still a good penalty killer. The long reach. He's still a force. He's still a tough defenseman to play against. And then Torrey Krug leaves. Nothing really to replace him. And then Matt Grzelcyk is a guy, an up-and-coming guy. Still got McAvoy logging a lot of ice time. Yeah, I mean, Boston just won't go away. And Bergeron is still – that line, when Pastrnak comes back, it's still going to be one of the better 5-on-5 lines in the NHL with Brad Marchand in there as well. The North Division, at one time, Montreal was plus 650. They are now 150, tied with the Leafs. The Flames plus 650, Jets 750, Oilers. My goodness, man.
Okay, let's talk.
11-1. What is up with the Oilers?
I don't want to tell people this. Like, I actually have Montreal Canadiens futures when we did the show. I talk about it, and you know what? I'm not the Leaf fan that I respect Montreal. I'm actually. It's weird. Like, when you're starting to bet, you change. Like, I obviously want the Leafs to win, but I have so much respect for the Canadiens organization, what they've done, and the players that they put on the ice. It's actually refreshing. When Montreal is doing well, hockey's a good thing. But as for Edmonton, I'm done. I watched this team play. They stink. They got, like, honest to God, they got McDavid, Draisaitl. I remember the clips from McDavid last night. Oh, I'm not on the power of the penalty kill, but these guys are trying. No, Edmonton, you give up so many chances a game. You could lose games like 13-4 on a regular basis. Koskinen, he's not a good goalie. The defense, they're not good. The forwards don't come back. I don't care if you have God playing on that team. Connor McDavid and Draisaitl can't do it all by themselves because the rest of their parts stink. Chris, they're horrible. And Edmonton, I don't like to admit this. Sometimes I bet against the Leafs once in a while. They're not paying my mortgage. And I'm like, I took Edmonton. I'm like, what am I doing? Like, I'm betting against the Toronto Maple Leafs to take Edmonton. And every time I sit back, I'm staring at the wall going, that was stupid. Cam, they're not that good. Like, why? Like, it's just like a name, McDavid. It's kind of like it brainwashes you into think that they're a better club. They have good individuals as a piece, as a whole. They're horrible. Like, and I'm going to fade these guys left, right, and center, Meaney. I don't know what you think, but I don't mean to be that blunt. But Edmonton, like, when are you getting better? Like, you've done this act for years. It's getting old.
They stink. I'm with you. They're brutal. They're tough to watch.
I've
said this before. That Spider-Man emoji whenever the guys are just pointing at each other. It's like McDavid and Mike Trout. Like, you're just wasting these guys.
Yep.
You're not building the talent around them. They need to do something. I know Matt Best and I have had this conversation before producing this show that they need to trade Ryan Nugent-Hopkins or something. They need to You're all in on McDavid. You're all in on Draisaitl. The Draisaitl contract is not even that bad. I don't think you flip him. I mean, you can't. I think you have those two, and you just try to build around them. Like, you can't have Zach Kassian playing on the top six. Yeah, he scored a goal last night, whatever. He can't be playing with those skilled guys. You need to try to find something, and probably the only way to do that and get more balance on that team is with trading Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. But Tyson Barrie looks awful. He already lost the spot on the top power play. He is a good defenseman.
I feel bad for Barrie. He's got the yips. He lost it. Like, he was bad in Toronto, and now it's like you're watching him out there going, oh boy. And when you're a defenseman and you start questioning yourself, you're dead. It's already over for you. You need to play with confidence. He's got none. And Koskinen, I got to be honest with you, I thought he was better. Meaning he swims too much. He fights the puck. He gets lucky. Like, Edmonton's got major problems in every direction except for their 2 stars.
Yeah, and they didn't do anything to him. They were comfortable with their defense and with their goaltending, right? They don't have Oscar Klefbom in there. I'm sure their defense will be a little bit better, but it doesn't matter. I mean, they're getting hundreds of power plays every single night too, and they're not doing anything with those. And
exactly.
They were number 1 power play in the NHL last year. And like, how their success rode a lot from their power play last year. And then they got bounced by the Blackhawks in the bubble, and they don't really do much to improve. This team is so overrated to me, man. When you and I used to work together before, and I would see all the people coming onto the show and be like, Oilers Cup, Oilers Cup, Oilers Cup. It's like, are you guys serious? Like, they're just, they have arguably the best player in the world, and that's basically it. So I'm with you. I don't bet them. I bet against them. I tend to bet the overs, but they're not even really doing their part lately. I think they got lucky last night. That game was lucky to get the over. The Leafs played well against them, and they're a team that capitalizes on their power plays. You give them power plays, and the puck's in the back of the net.
The Leafs have changed their stripes, Meanie, and it used to drive me nuts. They used to be just like the Oilers. Oh, let's finesse it. Let's do that extra pass. Let's make everything so pretty. We're the Oilers. Now the Leafs are like Mara even said, shoot the damn puck. Just shoot it, deflect it, get in there, get dirty goals, get greasy goals. That's how you're going to win games. Like, you have the skilled players there. Not everything has to have that extra pass. You got to shoot it. Just get a guy in front of the net. Hockey doesn't need to be complicated. It could be a very simple game. Watch the Montreal Canadiens play. They're like a bunch of friggin' dogs on a bone. They're just all over you all the time. They force you to make a mistake, and bam, it's in the back of the net. That's the thing. The Oilers, everything has to be like art, and it's not working, man. They need real players on that team. You said it. Overrated.
They really are. Yeah, the Leafs, I'm just looking at power play goals. The Leafs, number 1 in the NHL. Power play is red hot. Dallas, 100%, 4 games in.
You gotta be kidding me.
77% for the Leafs. They got 12 power play goals. Where are the Oilers? They got to be near the bottom. Yeah, 33%. Only the Wings and the Senators have a worse power play than Edmonton right now. They got 7 power play goals on 35 power play opportunities. That is the second most power play opportunities in the NHL. So, I mean, you're still.
We rest our case.
Power play. Yeah, you're overrated. Tomorrow,
Lionel Hutz can win that case. Yeah, what do we got tomorrow there, Meanie? What are you betting? Going to follow you and producer Matt. He seems to be the best gambler on the damn show. Better than me. You and
him. You looked at the schedule for tomorrow in the NHL? We got like 11 games.
No, I haven't looked yet. Give me a quick second here. I'll take a peek. You guys go on, and I'll get back to you in like a minute or two. Bring me back in.
Matty just casually comes on the show this morning, and he's just like, I got 1, 2, 3, 4 parlays. No,
Matt, I hear him before I come on. Oh yeah, Meanie, I'm hitting everything. I almost clipped a 7-gamer last night. It's like, okay,
it was a great night. Let's leave it at that. I mean, the Leafs game was a sweat at the end for me, but man, nailed a 5-teamer, a 4-teamer, a 3-teamer, a 2-teamer. I got so close on a 7-teamer. The Sabres didn't help me out at all there, but yeah, it's I've been feeling good about it. I've been following shot props with you guys, and that's been a lot of fun. But yeah, I've strayed away from the puck lines, and I've gone back to the money lines, and that's what I've been hitting.
Yeah, don't mess around with puck lines. Yeah, I think
that's the thing. It looks all pretty, right? Meaning you're sitting there going, man, I made a great bet, and they just win the game. I like regulation bets too. Like if it's void, it's void. I've had horrible luck in shootouts, right? Like it's one of those things. It's like, find what works for you, what makes you comfortable. No, puck lines are great to the plus money, but the NHL is a tight league. A lot of the time, these games go to overtime and stuff. So when you take that -1.5, especially, I'll take puck lines with dogs. like the plus 1.5 more than the 1.5 for parlays. That's kind of what I do a little bit more.
Yeah, I like that as well. Yeah, like even last night, I'm tempted to take Colorado and Dallas puck line. It gets there, but it's like, whatever. I'll just put these guys in a parlay with Vancouver.
Exactly.
With these crazy odds that we're getting with the Canucks against the Senators, and then you're well on your way. So lots of games. We have the Devils and Sabres. We have Pittsburgh and the Rangers. Maybe the Rangers, that was it last night for them, right? Alexis Lafreniere gets the overtime winner. They've been snake bitten, not scoring. Maybe that's the goal that gets them going, because there's a lot of talent. They're still going to play to the over quite a bit, but there's a lot of talent on that Rangers team offensively. We have the Islanders again against the Flyers, Dallas, Carolina, Nashville, Tampa Bay, Florida, Detroit, Calgary, Montreal again, Toronto, Edmonton again, Colorado, Minnesota, St. Louis potentially back on the ice against the Ducks, Vancouver, Winnipeg. Lots of action, Cam. Right off the hop, Vancouver, Winnipeg seems like a game there's going to be a lot of goals scored.
Couldn't agree more. Another thing is, this might be a good angle for Winnipeg. Vancouver, they're basically playing shinny hockey against the Ottawa Senators. Like, hey, man, hey, Mott, you want another goal? Sure, just thanks. Yeah, there we go. It's Ottawa. These guys, like Renzi's like, these guys are staying across from me. Not very. I'm like, yeah, well, they're not. What are they out at the casino? Because they sure don't look like they could play hockey right now. Give me the Winnipeg Jets could be in a good spot right here, because Vancouver had some fun, and now they're playing a team that actually can score. And I agree with you, Meaney. Maybe it's time to play Tom Total in this game, because there's going to be a lot of goals. There should be. This looks like a 6-4 type of hockey game.
Yeah, Vancouver's played to the over in every game but 2, I think, this year. Winnipeg minus 128 on DraftKings. I like that quite a bit. We talked about Columbus in the addition. At the same time, adding Pierre-Luc Dubois to that Jets team is nice. They're deep down the middle. I agree. I think the Jets are a playoff team in the North. I think they get in. Hellebuck, say what you want. A lot of people are on the fence about him being a good goalie or a bad goalie. I think he's a fine goalie.
Kidding me?
I think he's a good goalie. Yeah.
He's a great goalie. Of people, if you think Hellebuck is a bad goalie, I don't think you've watched enough hockey.
People trash him,
what are they nuts? Are they nuts?
I don't
Hellebuck's a good goalie, man.
Yeah, I think so too.
I'm not saying he's the best goalie in the league, but he is an above average goalie, in my opinion. I don't know what you feel.
He's got hardware.
Your puck knowledge is up there. Yes, he's great.
Yeah, he's got the hardware to prove that he could be one of the better goalies in the league. No, I think he's a great goalie. So you're
telling me people come on and say Hellebuck is not a good goaltender?
Maybe not so much on this show. We got great guests, but on other shows and other people that I've talked to, I've heard Hellebuck. People say Hellebuck is not good. He's trash. And I don't agree with that. He's seen probably more rubber than anybody in the past 3 years. He sees a lot of rubber. And the Jets are another team a couple years ago, right? They lost Trouba. They lost Bufflin. They lost Myers. Like, they lost a lot of guys, and they really didn't do a ton to replace them. They're still building that blue line, but they're deep down the middle now. They got 3 solid centers. You put Stastny as your third line center, and guys like Kopp are showing up. Ehlers has been playing good. I like the Jets. In the over. I think Hellebuck is a fine goalie. I think he's arguably a top 3 goalie in the league. Anything else stand out to you? Just going to go back to the Leafs here. Why not? Minus 128. Is this where the books are trying to trick you a little bit, where, the Leafs just beat the Oilers again? Will Edmonton bounce back? Minus 128 on DraftKings Sports.
You know what, though? I'd be careful of this game, even though we just ripped the Oilers. I saw the body language. Like, I have a feeling McDavid could have a McDavid game after that. Like, that press conference, he looked like he wanted, like, it was tough to watch. Like, he was just ready to explode. I would not be shocked if he said enough is enough and just kind of takes over the game himself. That's the thing. Edmonton, they were in that game, Chris, right? Leafs took the lead, they tied it. Leafs took the lead, they tied it. They just couldn't get it done at the end of that game. They had many opportunities. I remember earlier in the first period, missed a couple open nets. Anderson was flopping around there. I would say be very careful with this game. I would actually look to Edmonton, but it's not my favorite play. Also, Devils and Sabres is an interesting game. Lindy Ruff returning to the scene of the crime as Devils coach against Buffalo. A little bit of history there. I think the Devils could be a tough out in that game. Buffalo's playing better, but New Jersey's lost some games, but I think they're going to play for their coach in that one. That could be interesting. Like, I'm looking at dogs. I might give New Jersey a little bit of a sniff. Tough card, though.
Yeah, plus 130, and they may get Mackenzie Blackwood back in net. If they get Blackwood back in net, then I'm with you. I tend to bet unders when he plays. Buffalo has been a stingy team this year, allowing the third fewest high danger chances at a 5-on-5. The under, we're talking about Tom totals, like that may be it, man. The under could be the play there. The under, I think, is the play in Nashville and Tampa Bay. This Predators team, and I don't know, like they just played Chicago back-to-back games. You talked about the Blackhawks hanging around, could have easily won both of those games. You look at the box score and you see, oh wow, Nashville had like 40 some odd shots, but where are those shots coming from? Are they any good? Who else is scoring on Nashville's team besides their top line? They get a lot of offense from the back end from a lot of their defensemen and Yossi and Ellis, but after Forsberg and Arvidsson, they're just super thin. Like I'm not impressed with Granlund, not impressed with Duchesne. You got Vasilevsky in net who keeps things pretty tight himself, so I kind of feel the under there. Calgary Montreal, would you give a shot on the Flames to bounce back plus 114?
I don't know, man. I don't want to step in front of Montreal right now.
Just totally lose.
It's just one of those teams, man. Yeah. That's like, you don't want to get off the trend, but like, yeah, Calgary should give their best effort, but there's no guarantees they're going to win that game. Actually, you know what? Calgary plays a lot like Edmonton does. They're a loose hockey team too.
They are.
They play very loose. Like you watch their games, like the opportunities they give up. Watching that Leaf series, man, I'm like, these guys can't go anywhere. Like you could tell. You can give the eye test to these teams, and Calgary doesn't have it. Like Montreal has it. They know how to play defense. They can get all over you. Calgary and Edmonton, both Alberta teams play too loose. It doesn't work. And in the playoffs, you're dead.
Yeah, I thought Mike Johnson said it perfectly last night. I was watching that game. He says Calgary, like it's fun to watch them play. Their defense join the rush and jump in, but you can't do that against teams that can counteract like Toronto or Montreal that have the speed and they can just go up and all of a sudden it's a 2-on-1. It's in the back of your net. We saw that last night. I mean, they gave up a shorthanded goal. We're at 45 minutes. We can get out of here. Best, have you looked at the schedule yet?
I looked. I know we were talking about the puck lines here. If Blackwood does play, the Devils will still be plus 1.5. I think I'll take them. I like the Ducks plus 1.5. John Gibson needs out of Anaheim. This guy stands on his head all the time, and I love the Dallas Stars if they're going to be plus 1.5 as well. As far as money lines, I do like the Habs and Leafs as a little parlay there, and then mix in if Blackwood plays, I'll add the Devils to be the third leg of that parlay there.
I also got one more for you, Meaney. I think I disagree. I don't want to go against Matt because he's on fire, but I think St. Louis in that game, I know they beat Vegas. They got a little bit, they're waiting against Anaheim. I think a St. Louis Tampa Bay parlay looks good to me to plus money too. I think Tampa Bay will wake up after that loss to Carolina and get it done.
I like it. I'm just putting that into the free parlay calculator over at ftnbets.com, and you can get that at plus 143 on TK, Tampa and St. Louis.
Sold.
Guys, I like Columbus tonight. The under may be the play there. Chicago's getting some strong goaltending. Neither team has a lot of offensive firepower just yet. Cam, I know you're feeling the Hawks, but maybe plus one. Right? Puck line Chicago.
Yeah. And the under. I agree with you. I see a 3-2 hockey game just under the number by the hook.
Yeah. Matty, the bets are starting to come around a little bit on this show, right?
You're doing a bit better now. We are over 500, which is what matters. You went 4 for 6 on the last go around, so
solid. Hey, nothing wrong with that. Do that every day, Meaney.
And for what it's worth,
get over this 65% mark. I'm greedy.
Yeah, you'll get over it. I think this will be the day. We have a couple of good props here. One prop I want to bring up to you guys real quick. Dominic Kubalik is averaging just over 3.25 shots a game. His shot prop tonight is 2.5 at plus 115. I think that's something I'm going on for sure. I like that a little more than the Stromer 1.5 at minus 134.
Yeah, that's a pretty good call. I mean, he's had at least 5 shots in 3 of his past 5 games. He is a volume shooter. Matty Best getting it done. Cam, always a pleasure, man. Who are we rooting for in golf this weekend?
Actually, it's funny. Me, Feinberg, and the rest. Our old friend Alex Norton from Sweden, 150-1. Can you be a Sunday warrior and bring it home for me, Feinberg and Mayo? Quality cuts in the fridge and freezer. If that one comes in, Meaney, blow it up. That's
Where can people listen to you on Sirius? When can people listen to you?
Yeah, I do the updates
all the time.
And Scott, yeah, we're basically a 24/7 operation here. If you punch me and Morency, now oil comes out instead of blood. I do updates in Scotty Farrell's show. Me and Gabe, Game Time Decisions, 6 to 9 Eastern, and in-game live, where we do some in-game betting as well. Hopefully, make everybody some money. And Saturday night at midnight, going live with our hockey show. Me and Brian Blessing, the King of Vegas, talking a little puck. Hopefully, winning some bets and some money for you, Meaney. You're on fire. Bess is on fire. Keep on making the listeners and viewers some money, buddy. You're on fire, man. Stack it up, baby. Stack it, Meaney.
Stack it. Cam, you're fantastic, man. Love talking hockey with you every Friday. We'll be back on Monday. Please rate, review, subscribe, iTunes, leave your email there. You never know when Mayo is going to give away another $100. Make sure you subscribe to the Mayo Media Network. Like this video. Leave a comment. Maybe it's a fantasy hockey question, a bet for tomorrow, a bet for tonight, anything. Any kind of comment. Your favorite kind of, I don't know, food, right, Cam? Any kind of food? Sure.
I like it all, Meaney.
Looking to jump on FTN Bets or FTN Daily, use that promo code Meaney or Mayo. Have a great weekend, guys. We'll catch you on Monday. Cheers.
I know we went long today.